I don't know why, but I feel like July is going to have the best summer reads ever. And I'm so down for this. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie, and today I'm talking about all the books I want to read in the month of July. Like I said in the intro, I just am really embracing summer for some reason. And fun fact, summer used to be like one of my least favorite seasons, but like I'm in full summer mode, y'all. Typically for my monthly TBRs, I try to have around 10 because 10 is usually my average. But I feel like I have a little bit more. Plus I'm also kind of embracing like mood reading. I feel like it's super fun. So there are some books I definitely have to read, but then I do have some books I definitely want to like try to get to, but I'm not like making myself get to. So yeah, let me go ahead and jump into the books. Okay, so the first set of books are all book club books. So I have my own book club, if you didn't know, which we'll get into, and then I'm also participating in 2 other book clubs. So let's talk about my own, which is Sleep When I'm Dead, and we will be reading The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I'm actually going to have dedicated reading sprints for this book. Reading sprints will be here on my channel on July 3rd, which is Monday, and I will have my co-host, which is Gwen, for the book club discussion, and then also we will have Lena from Lena's Bookshelf, Summer from Seasons Readings, and Jordan from Sorry Book Salad, which is just my Fab 5 booktube besties. I believe all 5 of us will either be starting or continuing with this book, which is very, very exciting. So I definitely recommend and extend the invitation for you to join us. But if not, if you don't want to read this, or if you've already read it, feel free to bring whatever you want and just join the party. So I'm trying to go into my thrillers knowing not a whole lot, but from what I remember after reading the synopsis, this is about a woman who, I think when she was a young child, she was kind of like arrested for the murder of her whole entire family. However, she was never like charged with anything, but everyone knows that she did it. And now in the 1980s, her caretaker is finally getting the truth behind everything. And I don't know, this one just sounds so amazing. Of course, it's Riley Sager, so we have to do this. I'm so excited, and this cover is just everything. The next book I want to talk about, I don't physically own, but I do have it on Kindle Unlimited, but it is for the Midnight Society book club hosted by Reading Riley, which absolutely love her, but she invited me, Gwen, and Jordan to join her for her book club, which I'm very excited. And we will be reading The Odds by Jeff Strand, which I'm super excited about because I just, based on this cover, I had like no interest, but y'all, she picked a really good book, and we all kind of came together and like agreed on this one, and it just sounds so dark and twisted. I'm super excited. This one is about a man who I think kind of gets into some financial troubles, like with gambling, and I think he's approached by a stranger who basically kind of convinces him to like play a game, and the odds are just really good. And I think the further he gets into this game, the least likely he's gonna like survive whatever. It's kind of giving me like Squid Games slash like, I don't know, like Chevy Chase, Vegas Vacation, like if you were to combine those two in a way. So I'm very excited. It sounds like super dark and twisted. I love a good like game element in a thriller slash horror. The live show will actually be on Sunday at noon Eastern on July 30th. So make sure you pick up a copy. If you have a Kindle or Kindle Unlimited, it's free on there. The next book club pick that I want to talk about was actually on my last TBR, but again, I never got to it, but it is The Ferryman by Justin Cronin. This is for Gwen's podcast Patreon book club called The Night Owls. So this is the summer buddy read, and this is like a dystopian type of mystery type of book, I believe. I feel like it's definitely going to have like some like deep thought things, but it's about this like futuristic world where like I think people can go on this ferry to this other island, and then they come back and they're like younger. I could be wrong, but again, I have not read this book yet, but I definitely want to get to this one because I definitely want to participate in the buddy read this year. So I will leave a link for Elizabeth and Gwen and everyone I've mentioned so far down in the description. But if you want to join Gwen's Patreon, I'll have that link there so you can join us for the summer buddy read. Okay, so next let's talk about some romances. I have 3 books here. I think they're all semi-considered romances, so I'm very excited about that. So let's talk about what I have. Oh no, I have a 4th one. Just kidding. I have a 4th one. So we'll talk about this one because I'm actually going to be buddy reading this with Keisha. So this is Do I Know You by these 2 authors. I've mentioned these multiple times on TBRs before. But yeah, this time I'm actually going to get to this book. Oh, from what I remember, this is about a married couple who are kind of struggling in their marriage. They actually get to take this trip. They both don't want to go on this trip with each other because they're, you know, having some difficulties, but something happens to where people at this resort don't realize that they're together or married, and so they kind of play around as a game of like, oh, like I'm just meeting you for the first time. So it's kind of like a second chance with marriage, and I love that we're actually going to be reading a book about marriage. So I'm very excited about this one, and I'm glad to finally get this off my TBR. Okay, the next book is totally TikTok's fault because I literally found this new TikTok creator. Her name is Danny. She kind of does like book recommendations to herself in a way. I'll leave her link if you want to go follow her. She's like a new follow for me. But she did this whole skit where she was recommending The Nanny by Elena Ferguson. And I think this one is about a like adult entertainment person, and this was her biggest fan, but they don't know who each other are, but yet he hires her to be the nanny for his child. I've heard it's really steamy, but I've also heard it's really sweet, so I'm excited about this, and I got this at the library. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is considered romance, but I have Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins, and this was actually gifted to me by one of my viewers, Sandra. Thank you so much. We actually did a book exchange for Gwen's Patreon. We did this whole like summer book exchange and did a few other goodies. So this was actually sent to me by Sandra. Thank you so much, Sandra. I'm so excited to read this. But I've been told this is a much heart-wrenching, devastating type of book, and I'm really excited, and I believe it does have romance in it. I'm not sure exactly what it's about. I'm just going to read the first paragraph. It says, Josh and Lauren are the perfect couple, newly married. They're wildly in love, each on a successful and rewarding career path, and then Lauren is diagnosed with a terminal illness. That's all I know. Grab your tissues because I'll be needing them as well. And then during the whole Sun's Out, Books Out readathon, I got major FOMO because everyone seemed to be reading this one, but it is Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I'm really bad at pronouncing names today, so ignore me. But I found this one at Barnes & Noble. It was actually discounted. So I'm very excited for this one because I heard everyone seemed to be liking this one. Everyone seemed to be giving it like 4 or 5 stars. So I'm excited to read this one. I think this is about a woman who's engaged. She's going back to, I guess, her hometown to get married or figure out like her whole venue. And then her first love, which apparently may not have ended very well, seems to be there. So love triangle, anybody? I'm excited. And then I have 2 books right here that I definitely want to try to get to if I can. I have We Spread by Ian Reid. I love Ian Reid's I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I've heard like nothing but great things about We Spread. I know it has like that one topic of like elderly people and like memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's, all that stuff. And so I know this might strike me a little tougher because I did have family members with Alzheimer's and dementia. So yeah, I'm very excited to read it. However, I don't know how I'm going to feel after I get done reading it. And then also I have Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, I think is how you say her last name. I'm purely reading this just because Gwen said this is her new all-time favorite book of all time, and I have the Book of the Year edition, so I would like to try to read this one. Also trying to tackle my whole Book of the Month collection, so definitely want to get to this one as soon as possible, but we'll see. I don't know anything about this book. I just know it has video games and tough relationships, So, and then the rest of the books are actually some thrillers. So I'm actually reading my NetGalley arc for Dark Corners by Megan Miranda. This is the sequel to The Night Swim, and what I've gathered so far, I'm pretty sure I'm like 30 to 40% into the book. You don't have to read them in order, but I think it's nice because obviously continuing in the series. But this is about Rachel, who has a podcast, a very successful podcast called Guilty or Not Guilty. And this one we are following Rachel, kind of following a case where someone who's been locked up in jail has been trying to get her like to come visit him, but also he's been in contact with this like YouTube influencer, and something's happened where the influencer has went missing. That's all I really know, and I'm really enjoying it. It is fully produced on audiobook, so I definitely recommend once the book becomes available that you pick it up, or check out The Night Swim if you haven't read that one yet. And then also another book that I want to read, which I believe will be available on Kindle Unlimited, is, I believe it's called Don't You Trust Me by Kirsten Modulin. I don't know anything about this book except that it's set on a cruise ship and it's a thriller. So what more could I ask for? I love reading Kirsten Modulin books for like a good palate cleanser, like a very fast, easy read, nothing I have to think too hard on. So if you haven't got on the K-Mod train, I definitely think you should. But she just announced that she's releasing this one. I believe it's available now. So I'm excited. And then I have two more to go over. So the next one I have is Saint X. I've been wanting to read this one ever since I went on my girls trip in April. Yeah, April. And this one was made into a Hulu series, and I am excited because I had no intentions on reading this, but the Hulu series looks interesting. I haven't watched it yet. So this one is about a family that goes on like I guess a Caribbean trip, and something happens where the oldest daughter goes missing, and then she's found dead, and they said it was an accident. But the younger sister doesn't believe that, and so she kind of digs deeper into the events of what happened years later, and things go from there. So I'm excited. Sounds like a good summer read. And then the last book I want to mention is purely influenced by Book Talk. I sent this to Gwen and she's like, yeah, I'm already ready to read that one. It was on my anticipated list. I was like, oops, my bad. But the book I have is Dead 11. And is this not giving you like the perfect 90 vibes? It kind of reminds me very similar of the Grady Hendrix book, My Best Friend's Exorcism. Obviously not the same, but like the vibes, because it's a VHS. Oh my gosh, like look how perfect that is. And I think the little detail of it being rated R is hilarious. This one just says, on a creepy island where everyone has a strange obsession with the year 1994, a newcomer arrives hoping to learn the truth about her son's death. So yeah, I think this is like kind of like a time travel type of, not time travel, but I think it's like a, I don't know how to explain it. I think it's like an island, like if you go to this island, you're like set back in the 90s. I don't know, but apparently her son went missing. Is it a missing son? Yeah, her son's death, excuse me, I just read that. So I'm excited to read this one. I can't wait. And yeah. All right, guys, those are all the books I would love to read for the month of July. I'm super excited. Hopefully there are some good ones on here that you're interested to hear my thoughts on. Definitely a lot of book club activities. Definitely some room for opportunities for reading vlogs. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss on a new video. If you've made it this far, let's do something fun and just leave a drink emoji. You could do the margarita, the coffee, the beer, champagne. Just leave a drink emoji down in the comments. And yeah, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Again, really does support my channel, and I hope to see you guys in my next one. Bye!
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost.